Knicks analyst Alan Hahn believes that the Knicks will be targeting a former Knick at the deadline, and we have to talk about it. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video. And make sure you don't miss any of the videos. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That 14.5% of people, they miss none of our videos. And that's all we got for that. Let's jump right in. So, guys, a New York Knicks analyst, and Alan Hahn, believes that the Knicks are going to target former New York Knick Alec Burks at the trade deadline. Now, he has said that he himself does not have any actual proof that they're going to do this, but he does know the organization well. He's worked for MSG for a while. He has his own radio show. The man is connected, and so though his connections are not saying this is happening, there's also going to be a reason why he believes that, and he is someone who you should trust on this subject. And essentially what he had to say is, if you want to put money down on who the Knicks get at the deadline, Alec Burks is a name to watch. It just seems inevitable. I'd watch that, Alan Hahn said on his radio show, as he made it clear that this is not him knowing any inside information. And also, if you look right here, Alec Burks is averaging 20.4 points per game in 25 minutes for the Detroit Pistons while shooting 51% both from the field and from three. So clearly Alec Burks is someone who the Knicks could use. The Knicks clearly still need a little bit more shooting, especially when it comes to their bench. They need some more isolation scoring when it comes to their bench. Alec Burks fills both those voids very well. He's been on the Knicks. He knows the system. It could be a match made in heaven for the Knicks. The question is, what are you giving up? Now, if you've been following the NBA, that you would know that the Detroit Pistons recently made a trade where they gave away Marvin Bagley and Isaiah Livers, and in return, they got back Mike Muscala and someone else who I'm forgetting, Monte Morris. And it was pretty much just not a big deal. I think all of us kind of saw it, and we're basically just like, okay, I don't care. Both these teams suck. And that was it. But it does have some implications when you're talking Alec Burks, because the Knicks cannot trade Evan Fournier for Alec Burks. The Pistons would need to give back $1 million in salary, and the only $1 million player in salary that the Detroit Pistons have on their team is former Knick Kevin Knox, who just got signed to an extension, meaning he cannot be traded along with another player for now. That is how the recently signed exception works. We've talked about this extensively when we're talking about guys like Precious Achiuwa and Malachi Flynn and how they can't be traded with any other players because the recently traded thing, or the recently traded exception, that's the same thing with the recently signed exception. So it makes things a little bit difficult for the New York Knicks. They cannot trade for Kevin Knox. That meaning they cannot make the salaries work for Evan Fournier for Alec Burks, which makes things interesting. I think if the Knicks were to get Alec Burks, that would mean it would end up in some really complicated three-team trade or something. And sure, I mean, they could probably figure it out. Trades are pretty flexible in the NBA. You can kind of manipulate the cap. That's why people like Brock Aller for the Knicks have jobs being salary cap experts. This is not something, in case you guys did not know this, GMs and presidents do not know exactly 100% the ins and out of the salary cap. There is a position for every NBA team where someone, usually some sort of accountant or something, gets hired to know every rule of the salary cap and basically tell the president and GM and all of them what you can spend, how much money you have to spend, what can work via trades. And it switches. I mean, you know, everyone's different. Everyone has their different management style. There's probably some presidents asking like, hey, can you tell me what trades we can make with this amount of money around this guy? What's an option? Or can we make this trade? Is this feasible? If not, what do we have to do to get here? And again, the presidents and the GMs do know a lot. They've been in the business for a while. You don't just walk into that job without any prior experience. So they do have a general grasp on the salary cap more than the general fan does. But what I'm saying here is, you essentially, long story short, you can make the money work. It just will take a little bit of trickery. And that kind of leads to what picks the Knicks give up. I don't think the Knicks should be willing to give Detroit their unprotected pick back. I just don't think so. And look, it's going to keep deferring for a while because the Pistons are bad and they're going nowhere fast. But really, I think they keep that. I think they should. The pick is only going to grow in value because eventually it'll become unprotected and the Pistons will probably still be trash, just knowing how the Detroit Pistons have worked as of late. They're a pretty terrible franchise since the turn of the 2010s. They have not done anything helpful ever since they signed Josh Smith. They've been a disaster, and they've never really fixed it outside of the one Blake Griffin year. And then I guess also that year with Drummond and Greg Monroe. But really, you don't have much from the Detroit Pistons, and the Knicks should use that pick to try to acquire a star down the line. But they could give the Dallas first or something like that. Still have 7 picks left to go. Potentially extend Alec Burks and then use him in a trade if you're not going to make a trade over the summer. Or just use, I don't know, Josh Hart maybe. Or someone who you could use some sort of trade swap. That's kind of the thing, though, with Alec Burks, is he is on an expiring deal. So if the Knicks give Fournier, it's going to become a lot harder for them to make a blockbuster trade this summer. And all signs point to this summer is when the Knicks want to make a blockbuster trade, which I can't wait for personally, because not only one will I stop be freezing because it's terribly cold in New York City right now, but also because the offseason's a great time, and it'll be after the Knicks obviously won the NBA Finals this year, so that'll be great. But in all seriousness, basically, the Knicks, they can get Alec Burks. I think he would help them succeed a lot come this season. It's kind of hard to imagine that if they got Alec Burks, it doesn't raise their ceiling a little bit more, because it just gives you what they need on the bench. More shooting, some shot creation, and also a guy who already knows the system. I mean, it works out pretty great for the Knicks when you consider all the options. And also, if you are to take a look here are some of the other options who Fred Katz has listed. If you look at Malcolm Brogdon, I still think that's the best one. Jordan Clarkson can't hit a 3 and doesn't play defense, so I don't really love that idea. Colin Sexton's just a myth. I have no idea. I don't think anyone knows what's going on with Colin Sexton. Bogdanovich is interesting, but I don't see how the Knicks would get away with not giving up a first when trading Fournier for him. And then it kind of comes out to the question, would you rather Bogdanovich or would you rather Alec Burks? I think that's sort of pick and choose. Terry Rozier's a fun option who you could also turn around and flip in a trade using his tradable contract like the one that Brogdon has. Bruce Brown literally just got traded to the Toronto Raptors like 30 minutes before I recorded this video. Shout out to Ben and Raptors Digest. TJ McConnell's money is a little different. It's not as much, and also he can't create his own shot, so that doesn't make much sense for the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks are making a trade with the Cavs unless it involves Donovan Mitchell, which kind of just ruins Karis LeVert. And Tim Hardaway Jr. would probably only get traded off of the Mavericks if there is, or if the Mavericks are getting an upgrade, and they would not be in this situation. All things considered, Alec Burks is a great option if the Knicks want to try to have as good of a season that they can have this year. Will it mean they win the finals? Absolutely not. But could they? Sure. You never know who's going to get injured, and the Knicks are probably the 4th or 5th best team in the Eastern Conference. The 76ers have not proven to be great in the playoffs. The Bucks have their holes. The Celtics are a Tatum or Porzingis injury away from being in real trouble. And then you just really have to worry about the Nuggets out west. So you never know. The Knicks could obviously get incredibly lucky, or they'll just get closer. They'll become more of a desirable location. They'll show that they're a star player away. A star will become available. The Knicks can use Alec Burks in a sign and trade, throw him along with 8 or 7 or 6 first-rounders for an absolute stud. Maybe throw in Quentin Grimes also to sweeten the pot. Get as good of a player as you could possibly get. Stack up your team. Have a team that can contend for the finals, and then just absolutely go for it. And that is really what the Knicks are kind of backed into a corner of doing right now after trading away all their young players. So it's the only move left to make. It's the only thing they can do. Let's see if they do it. And if you want to make sure that you are paying attention, make sure to subscribe. Be part of that 14%. Those are the cool kids, not that 85%. You guys are missing videos. Part of that 85%, you're watching this channel, you're not subscribed. Subscribe, man. It's not going to affect your life. You're going to hit that subscription button. You might feel good. You might feel like you did something nice, but guess what? You're going to forget in 5 minutes anyway. The only thing that's going to change is you're just going to see us on the front page of your YouTube account. You're going to be like, oh, Knicks Digest posted a video. Guess I'll watch Chris or Dariel just talk some hoops for a little bit while I'm working, while I'm playing video games, while I'm chilling out, while I'm bored, while I'm making dinner, while I'm driving home. Whatever, man. Just tune into Knicks Digest. Have a great day. And go Knicks.